Hi guys, welcome to Daddy and the Don. It's week 32 of the English Premier League and we've got all games covered with the punditry team back in action again. Before we get to the first game, which is Newcastle v Wolves, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Enjoy guys.
My game this week is Newcastle v Wolves. Well, what's happening to Newcastle then? After 10 unbeaten, they have now lost 3 in a row with a big 5-1 defeat last game. They really need to sort themselves out. It won't get any easier either. Wolves are having a pretty good season and will fancy their chances here after beating Villa. I think it's going to be a tight game with maybe one goal as a decider between these two teams. I think it might be a shock for the winning side here. So I'm going to go for Newcastle 1-0.
Hey, so Everton, Man United, derby. Well, I class it as a derby. Basically, Everton, they're below Brentford. So, yeah, bottom of the table. Not bottom, but you know what I mean. Against Man United, who are struggling to keep their place in the top 6. They're not in the top 6, I don't think. But it's a game where we want a Man United result because we would rather Everton go down than Brentford go down. So I'm going to go for a Man United win. I'll say 2-0.
Week 32, my game, Arsenal versus Brighton. Quite an easy one for me, this one. I think Arsenal are going to win this one. I know they had a poor result and apparently a poor performance on Monday against Palace. Brighton drew home to Norwich, which again, is not that great. It should beat those sort of teams. So they missed a penalty as well, which didn't help. But Arsenal win this one. I mean, Brighton have done okay this season. Don't win enough games, don't score enough goals. I mean, they don't really get hammered by anyone, but just don't see Brighton winning or beating teams, comfortably blowing teams away. They haven't got a strike force for that. Whereas I think Arsenal will put that poor performance behind them and we'll get back to trying to get back in the top 4. It's going to be a 2-horse race, I think, between them and Spurs. But yes, I see Arsenal winning this one. I don't think they'll be too strong for Brighton. I'm going to go for 2-0 to Arsenal.
Premier League predictions, week 32, Southampton versus Chelsea. See Chelsea coming off that hammering by Brentford at home. Southampton, they're coming from that 1-1 draw with Leeds. One thing for Southampton which will go towards them is that Chelsea have got a big midweek Champions League game against Real Madrid. Obviously, they've got to turn it around, especially after that loss against Brentford. They need to come out strong against Real Madrid, especially because it's the Champions League and it's Real Madrid. However, I do think this midweek game for Chelsea will be affecting them. I think Southampton, they're decent on the day. If they turn up, they can play good football, and I think fatigue will get to Chelsea this weekend, and I can see this match being a draw 1-1.
So this week I've got Watford versus Leeds in the Premier League. There's no denying that both these teams have had a very under par season this season. Obviously Leeds haven't been helped by all the injuries they've had. Obviously we're both having new managers come in the last couple of months. And obviously with that I'd say Watford have looked slightly better under Roy Hodgson, but I wouldn't say they've probably got to the point where he'll keep them in the Premier League. I'd say out of the two teams, the new Leeds manager is doing the better out of the two, and he's actually slightly improved Leeds from where they were. So for that, even though Laura would prefer a draw, I think if it's not, I mean, you could argue it might be a draw, but I just think with the slightly improvements that Leeds have made versus Watford, I think Leeds might pinch this 2-1.
Aston Villa v Spurs. So, Aston Villa, the Jekyll and Hyde team of the Premier League, you don't know what you're going to get. Tottenham were guilty of that earlier in the season, but they seem to have worked it out now. Has Conte got the formula? Are all the players back in form? Looks like it, but we don't want to say things too soon. So, going into this, Tottenham will need this to keep pressure up for that top 4 position, which they are back in with a shout after that great 5-1 win over Newcastle, combined with Arsenal losing. So, looking at this now, Kane seems to be back in form. Son's firing all cylinders. Kulusevski's playing really well as well since he came in. So, they've got a good little front three there. And I think they'll continue this. I mean, Stevie G, there's nothing to play for Villa. Bang in the middle of the table. Can't really go too much higher. Can't get sucked into anything down at the bottom. So I think he's just working out his team for next year, really. But like we said, we don't know what we're going to get from them. But I think Spurs will do this. I think they're in form, and I think they'll carry that form on. And they'll take this 2-0.
Hi guys, this is my Prem predictions, week 32. The Buzzing Bees versus Wet Spam. I think this will be quite a good game, to be fair, quite open, end to end. Obviously, Brentford had a great result against Chelsea on Saturday, I think it was. They must be buzzing with that. West Ham looked quite flat against Everton, but obviously got the job done. It probably could even itself out, this game. Maybe Brentford nicking the win. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Brentford win. As I said, it all depends on obviously how West Ham do on Thursday, which teams they decide to field against Brentford, but I do expect Brentford to probably nick this one.
Leicester versus Crystal Palace. Leicester are having a decent season, but not as good as they've had in the last couple. Inconsistent, but they're not anywhere near trouble, but they're not really anywhere near Europe. So with Europe still in the European competition in Conference League, that's their priority. They're playing PSV in the week. This is before that, and have a look at my preview for that game. I think especially if they don't get a great result there, they might rest some players. Palace, absolutely wonderful against us. Outplayed us, made us play shit, but they were fantastic result. And Patrick Vieira, especially against big teams, have got this team to a T, fantastic. And they'll be confident. Leicester don't play with a strong team. Palace will do well. Palace do better against the bigger teams the way they set out. But I think the form and the result against Leicester gives them a massive opportunity. So I'm going to say that Palace win this one in a tight game, 2-1.
If dog shit came in cans, this game would probably be its contents. It's Norwich versus Burnley, of course, and unfortunately for both sets of fans, this game is going to deliver exactly what it says on the tin. Don't get me wrong, both teams are going to be trying. They're both fighting for their lives. Premiership survival's at stake here, and this is just something that's down to a lack of quality that's troubled them all season, and it's going to continue here. Norwich, I think it's shit or bust time now. If they don't win this one, they're gone. Burnley, thanks to that great win at home to Everton, could afford to draw this game, but again, I think Sean Dyche would want to get that win and crank up the pressure on the teams above. But I'm going to go for a shitty 0-0 here. That's just how I see this game going. 0-0, no winner.
Man City, Liverpool, the biggest game of the season so far. Appreciate being selected to discuss this game, and I'll be as quick as I can, not to bore anyone. So, look, we all know it's the biggest game of the season so far. It's officially now a 2-horse race, even though it probably was. It is officially now a 2-horse race between these two, and God, this is going to be a massive, massive game. Momentum's going to be so crucial in the next 7-8 games left after this. Whoever can grab the 3 points, if there will be 3 points, that could go a long, long way, because let's face it, these both could win out after this. Cut to the teams quickly. Liverpool, for me, I've watched quite a few of their games recently. I don't think personally they've been playing well, but they've been winning, and obviously that's what you play football to do: win games, win trophies, get your 3 points, But I just feel that they're going to need to up their game a little bit more. I'm not saying they can't do it against Man City, but they're away from home, and I really do believe that this is going to be the key to the result. So late on in the season, but what a great time for these two to play right now. It could just separate that table, even as by 2-3 points. It's going to be massive. And Liverpool, as I said, need to raise their game a little bit more. Need to see Salah and Mane start firing a little bit more consistent. And what a game to do it. You just don't know. Man City on the other hand, I thought they've been pretty impressive what I've seen. Again, they're at home, so they're going to be favoured. Again, not by a lot, but in these sort of games, I'd all tend to try and go for the home team. There's going to be so much talent on display for both sides. And as much as we expect to see quite a few goals, I can't see there being too many, but I just think the first goal is going to be crucial, and I'm going to go for a Man City 2-1. I mean, I could talk all day about these teams as much as we all can, but I just feel if it was Liverpool at home, I probably would have done the scoreline 2-1 to Liverpool. I just feel the momentum for Man City being at home, and for them to go 4 points clear, I believe. If they get the 3 points, it's massive in the title race, because then they need to drop 2 games, which I can't see them doing. So yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-1 City win. I'm going to go Mahrez to score the first. I'm actually going to go for Salah to equalise, but I'm going to get De Bruyne late on to get Man City the 3 points and to go clear in the title race. But it's going to be an entertaining game. I would not be surprised if Liverpool get a result either, but I just feel, watching these recently, I feel Man City have shown the more promise, and I just feel Liverpool are going to be a bit too short. But again, we're not going to be surprised either way. But it's going to be a great game for us all to watch. But yeah, final prediction: Man City 2, Liverpool 1.